Hello, and thank you for joining us for our BNI San Diego podcast. Today, we've got a great topic. It's actually going to be a mini series, several conversations surrounding the BNI core values. And my guest that's going to be doing this with me, a very good friend, colleague, mentor. I mean, Andy's kind of all of a little bit of everything. Andy Cruz of Cruz Productions is with us today. How's it going, Andy?
Pretty good. I'm excited for this new series. I love the whole core values part of the meeting. That's been a nice element to have seen added over these last couple of years. And I think it's going to be really neat to talk about all these things kind of piece by piece over the next series of shows.
Yeah, we're going to take several different shows and we're going to talk about an individual core value, each and every one. So let's start by going over our core values. We've got giver's gain, building relationships, lifelong learning, traditions plus innovations. And I'm looking forward to, when we talk about that one, talking about the plus part, positive attitude, accountability, and recognition.
Yeah.
But today, Andy, which one are we starting with?
So right off the top, we're going to start from the top. We're going to talk about giver's gain.
Giver's gain. What an incredible conversation. So let's get to it. So giver's gain, Andy, what does giver's gain mean to you?
Giver's gain is mostly an attitude, in my opinion. I mean, this is where we come to the meeting with that kind of impetus that we are here to give referrals. We're here to give value. We're here to give of ourselves or of our network to the other people that are also networking with us and alongside us and for us outside that room, outside of the week, whether it's in person, Zoom, or hybrid. It's an attitude, and really is a mindset of being in a posture and a position of, in any situation, how can I give to the person that might have a need from someone in my network, but also how can I give to someone in my network to help someone over here in my life that might have something they are in need of, whether it's a service or a product. And so for me, it is a mindset like right out the gate. And it also is it's a core value in BNI because it kind of underpins everything about BNI.
Everything we do.
It's everything is about this attitude of giving. And naturally, as a result of people coming to the table with an attitude of giving, it creates receiving all over the place all the time.
Absolutely. And I love how you put it, because it really starts with having the right mindset.
Yeah.
Simon Sinek has just a very brief quote. It just says, show up to give, right? And if we can show up to give without the expectation of receiving back, right? It's giving without the expectation of reciprocity. In typical BNI, it's what's the term? Quid pro quo?
Yeah.
What's quid pro quo?
Well, it's tit for tat. I'm going to give you a referral. You're going to give me one back. But the thing is, like, it doesn't always work that way. It's not always that way in BNI, because I might have a referral for somebody else, but they might not have a referral for me.
Absolutely.
I mean, case in point, recently I had a referral for someone in our chapter that does real estate law. Well, that particular case, that's not a referral back for me. He may not always be in the situation where someone's a referral to me from his camp, but someone else in my chapter has a referral to me because of what they do. So, in the end, when it comes to like giver's gain and how it goes full circle, it's not always that I give you one and you have one in return for me. It doesn't always work out that way. In fact, there's a funny story like telling in BNI that in my early career, first time in BNI, when I was just doing VA lending, just doing VA loans. So for active duty military veterans, two of my best referral partners were the collision repair office and the immigration attorney, which in both cases were most often not talking to people who were my direct clients, but they were that giver's gain people, and they had this attitude of, hey, how can I help this person in front of me say this thing, even if it's outside of my field, outside of my industry, and direct that referral to someone I trust, who was me at the time doing VA loans.
So I love it. That just reminded me, there's a Zig Ziglar quote. You can have everything in life you want if you will help enough other people get what they want. That's exactly what giver's gain is.
Yep.
Showing up to give and not with the expectation of returning, but you know what? It's going to happen.
It's a byproduct.
Yeah.
It's a byproduct of the attitude. I mean, the thing is, like, when you demonstrate your commitment to giving, that doesn't necessarily subscribe you that you're going to be used in the process, number one. Number two, when other people that you are meeting with on a weekly basis have also subscribed themselves to be givers, someone has to catch that. If a ball's coming off the mound at 90 miles an hour, there's a catcher that's got to catch that ball.
Well,
so it's a hand-in-hand situation, but the demonstration of your commitment to be that person enhances your credibility and also enhances the trustworthiness that people have for you, especially when they see you executing that week after week, quarter after quarter, year after year. It entrenches your trust among the people that you're hoping will refer you the most often.
Well, and let's go back to one of the things that you said. You talked about I want to make sure that our listeners understand that there may be times where people do take advantage of it. But that's okay. Don't stop giving just because you come across that individual.
Yeah.
Right? Because then you're doing it for the wrong reasons.
Right. Well, that's true whether you're in BNI or you're not. I mean,
absolutely.
That's true for anyone I do business with that's outside of the network that I meet with every single week. Like, there will be people where I give my all, I give my best, and I come from a posture and attitude of giving and giving great first and having a commitment to do that. And if they don't care about it, if they don't value that, that's fine. Maybe that's not the right person for me to continue in a business relationship with, because if I've been consistent in me and my giving and my attitude, and I see inconsistent results, I start to see who's for me and who's not, and where am I going to spend my time and my dedication, whether it's in a networking situation or in a business-to-business situation.
Well, and it's funny because they will eventually work themselves out of that relationship.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is, like, it's not always the opposite, but I would say the opposite of giver's gain is taker's take. And so if you're always just trying to take from somebody or take from the situation or trying to like get the maximum squeeze out of the lemon, like get maximum juice out of the lemon, I understand that in theory as a maximizer myself. However, not at the expense of others. And so when someone displays that and shows that, it becomes very clear to me that they're not in it for the team win. They're not in it for the giver's gain. They're just there to take. But again, you can take and take and take and take and take, and then all you do is leave like mess behind you. You leave chaos. You're not pouring into anything. You're just taking and going to the next thing to take. If I did that down an apple field, you'd end up with a bunch of empty trees with no apples and no sustenance for the next people coming behind me. I got to plant those apples, but then I have to like harvest them, but I have to redo all the things that help them grow and nurture so that there can be more later.
Oh my gosh. Just reminding me of this little thing we call our cell phone that's attached to us, right? All the time. And you think about those individuals in your life or in your chapter that really have that spirit, that mindset of giver's gain. We have this little thing called caller ID that came out many, many years ago, so we can actually see who's calling. When that person calls up and shows up on your phone, you're not going to go, oh, I'll call that guy back later. What are you going to do? You're going to pick it up right now because you know that something's going to happen. Versus, as you said earlier, the taker's take, you're going to see that one go, you know what? I'm going to call that one later, if not at all, and let it go to voicemail. So the credibility that you build behind that true giver's gain mentality, because you're not doing it to get something. Right. Because let's face it, we've had experiences. I'm sure you've had experiences. I know I've had experiences. And let's face it, maybe there was a time in my life that I was the person who gave with the intention of, oh, you know what, if I give this person, whatever, then I can either ask for a favor or I can get something in return. And that was having the wrong mindset. And we've all probably had those people in our lives, right? Yeah.
Well, and part of that, I mean, and I hear that for sure. The embodiment of giver's gain as a BNI member is expected. That's part of what you sign up for. Yeah. But there are times where maybe conditionally it is going to be a one-time thing, and there is no other two-way street. There are times when we have had to do things for somebody one time, and it was an exception basis, and it was just because it was coming this way, and there was no return path. There's no boomerang benefit for them, and vice versa. There's times that I've just had to do something for somebody, and they were the direct recipient, and it did come at our cost. But then those things over time become less and less, because I want to work and live in an ecosystem and environment that supports that, whether it's 10 people in a room, 15, 20, 40, or 50. That attitude and that embodiment of giver's gain is a BNI thing, but that can translate outside in a variety of ways. And look, we're talking about core values for BNI and for members, but these same things can be deployed in your own company, your own business, and to the customers that you serve, whether they're business to consumer type customers or business to business type customers. People will catch on to that, even if you're not overtly telling them that's what you stand for.
Or, well, let's take it even further. It goes into our home life. It goes into church life. It goes into all what I love about our core values is that every single one of them, not only can I apply them to BNI, but I walk out the door and I'm heading to go meet with friends. I'm going to church, whatever's going on, I'm applying those same things, and it's become lifestyle.
Right.
So it's who we become as an individual.
Yes, and that does carry. And what's what's really cool about it is that has happened to me in BNI numerous times. I mean, many years ago, we did a homeless outreach where we would go downtown and we would take, food and clothing donations. We'd make hygiene kits for men and for women. We'd have men and women's clothes, children's clothes. We'd take food, snacks, non-perishables. And, it started off kind of small. And then it became like this blossoming thing where we'd end up with like 5 or 6 minivans and trucks full of stuff. And 40 to 50 volunteers going downtown on a Saturday morning. It was like bonkers. But when I would come to BNI with, hey, we have another homeless outreach coming out this quarter. We're looking for this, and this, and this. That's not me making a business ask. People are still donating that stuff out of their own personal desire to as a Givers Gain person. So even though we had this kind of city outreach to the street thing happening, it was upstream coming from personal requests in our circle, people from friends, family, church, and also BNI, and also other business customers of ours, where they're like, hey, that's cool. We want to be down with that too. We want to be participants. So how can we help? We'd have donations come to our house, people coming to BNI, people helping us sort at our house, load the trucks, meet us downtown. And it was really neat because that whole attitude of Givers Gain went beyond the weekly meeting, beyond the normal business transactions we're making. And it was really reflective of the type of just how ingrained that is in the people that we get to surround ourselves with every single week.
And that's a good point, right? It's who you surround yourself around. It's and that's where, whether it's in a business environment or a personal environment, what's the old saying that mom or dad would say, that you are the sum of the people that you hang around with,
right? And
if you're not, if you're looking at your life and you're looking in the mirror and going, wow, what I'm getting, I'm not liking, you may want to look at the environment that you're in and possibly make a change. And
that also changes over the course of time too. As you scale and you develop and you learn more, you mature, you age and mature. I don't think those are the same. So as you age and you mature, those things change who those 5 people are, if you will. You're the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And in some cases, based on certain conditions, like in my life right now, that's not as true as it sounds on the surface. I spend a lot of time with people who right now need a lot more from me than I'm getting back from them, but that's because of some things going on in my life. But I will do that out of the Givers Gain heart. And that season will pass, and then it will return me back to the business spaces where that scale and that development will lift once again.
That brings up a good point, though, because I know that when I show up to give and I'm continually giving and giving, my spirit gets full.
Yeah.
It returns, not again, we're not talking quid pro quo, but when I actually become very fulfilled, right? When I'm wherever I'm at, if I'm the giver, hey, how can I help? What do you need? What can I do? What kind of referral are you looking for? And to be able to give, holy moly, it changes how I walk into the room. It energy, everything about it just changes.
Yeah. And it really reveals a lot about you. I mean, so you're saying this, and it makes me think of one of our chapter members. I'll call him out right now, David Greep. He's with Cruise Planners, and David recently, he actually works with the National City Chamber of Commerce, and he actually knows a ton of business down here in the South Bay. And there was one particular business that was in startup mode and trying to get their little French restaurant going and their little eatery going. And they kind of were stumbling out the gates, having a hard time kind of getting the wind under the sails. And he kind of found out about it, was talking to the owners. And he's like, you know what? As a chapter, let's make an effort to go down there and frequent their place. Let's go enjoy food together. Let's do a one-to-one there. So we kind of we lifted and replaced this Givers Gain attitude over to this other local business that, by the way, is not currently in BNI yet, but currently. The reflection of his Givers Gain attitude helps bring some new life to this place that is trying to get itself going. And how many of us could have benefited from something like that when we were just starting out? When we had our new storefront, we had our new office, we had our new thing we're doing online or whatever it is, just from someone to kind of bring some new life and vitality into it, to remove some of that challenge and that like crossing those initial hurdles of getting your feet underneath yourself. Mm-hmm. And that came out of David Griep's willingness to know what their problem was, their willingness to share what it was, and then him to come and say and do something about it. And then our chapter members going to frequent this restaurant. By the way, I heard it's amazing and the food is awesome, so I got to go next. But that right there, I'm sure there's probably hundreds of these kinds of stories. If we go around town enough, you're gonna find a ton of these stories, chapter by chapter by chapter.
Oh, all over the place. Yep. And again, it all starts with having the right mindset. Mindset is key in this area. Okay, so Andy, we're coming up to a close. One of the things that I like to do is, as we close, I want to be able to ask you, when you look at the term giver's gain, what's something you can leave with our audience that's a good kind of aha kind of takeaway moment, some grain of a nugget of knowledge, nugget of something that just like, whoa, I like that. When you think of the words giver's gain.
I'm actually going to use a very personal reference when it comes to thank you for closed business. Oh, and when we ask them, hey, who's looking for more referrals? Okay, who thinks getting more referrals help grow a business? Okay, everyone's there to get business. We all know that. We all know that. We're not like pretending like I'm not there for business. We all know that. And what I would say to people listening or watching right now is be careful how you keep score. If I'm literally looking for dollar in, dollar out, I could be removing myself from other opportunities that have scales of return that I have not yet realized yet. Ooh. So to date, if the referrals I've passed in the lifetime of my membership equal $600,000, but the amount of closed business I've received over the lifetime membership is $300,000. I can cry about that, or I can go, wow, I've made $300,000 in BNI over the course of my entire membership. Now, for some people, that may sound like very little, depending on your trade. For some others, you might go, wow, $300,000, that's crazy over the whole lifetime of your membership. But if I get too caught in the weeds of this 600 given versus 300 received, I'm almost insulting all of the work that people have done to help drive that to me, and then putting myself on this pedestal of, I've given more than I've received. Why does that even matter? So be careful how you keep score, or if you even keep score at all, because ultimately you don't want that to undermine the attitude that you're supposed to bring to the table, that we want to see from everybody, which is giver's gain out the gate all the time.
Absolutely. Well, and again, as business owners, now pausing for a quick second, as business owners, we want to make sure that we're doing things, that we're investing in things that there's going to be a return on investment.
Yes.
But not to the extent that that's all you're looking at. Because there's many ways to gain from a group of individuals other than just money alone. What I love with BNI is your speaking skills, your presentation skills, your business acumen, the money, the referrals that and the money that those referrals produce. There's so many different areas that you're able to gain from when you show up each and every week and give and give and give.
And to that point, like I was just talking a couple weeks ago in the room, I was talking about the value of BNI over the course of your entire membership, not just and beyond the page, beyond the power of one, beyond your thinking for closed business. How much other value in my company can I equate to things I learned in BNI, such as the speaking skills, learning how to get a condensed 45-second ask in, learning how to handle objections in front of a live audience of people, like learning how to stand in front of 30 or 40 or 50 people every week and say something without being sweating and being nervous. Like all that pays dividends that we may not be keeping score of. And you may if you want to. But I think that maybe we don't give as much credit to that sometimes because we don't stop and think about it.
Yeah. Oh, Andy, thank you so much. I'm so excited about this little mini series on our BNI core values, starting with giver's gain. What a great topic. And then we're going to be back here in a couple weeks talking about our next one, which is building relationships and why that's so important. Andy Cruz, thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate you taking the time out of your schedule, and I look forward to hanging out with you in 2 weeks.
All right. Thanks,
everyone. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next week with another fantastic guest topic. And then in 2 weeks, I'm really excited to be able to have Andy back for our next core value. Again, have a great rest of your week, and we'll talk to you soon.
This episode of the BNI San Diego podcast has been brought to you by Cruise Productions, a San Diego-based video production company and proud BNI member. You can find us at the intersection where business and creativity meet, or online at cruiseproductionsinc.com.